This is a perfect beginner exercise that will get you familiar with coding fast. You can follow along with any online Python 3 compiler, no installation required. Links are in the description below. Subscribe now to Apptato for more coding interview questions, brain teasers, and math problems. Print the following shapes with width n, where n is an integer greater or equal to than 0. A line, a square, a right triangle, a pyramid, and a diamond. Here's a quick reference of Python 3 code on how to do prints, for loops, and functions. Hello world is printed 3 times the same way. Commas and plus signs connect two strings together, with the difference being commas add spaces, while plus signs do not. For loops count up to a specified number of times, with its count starting from 0. So passing in 5 would count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Functions are just a block of reusable code that can accept 0 or more parameters. And this sample function simply prints out a text, which is my function, and runs a for loop up to 3. 0, 1, 2, because you passed in 3 for n. Okay, let's start with printing a line. Let's just get rid of all this. First, we're going to make a function called printLine, which takes in a number n for the width. So we can try a for loop for x in range of n, print an x. And let's call this function here 5. Not exactly what we want, because we want a horizontal line and we're getting a vertical line. So we have to fix this up. We can introduce a string, which is empty, and in this for loop we can add. So plus equals means we take the string and we add it to itself. So we're going to add an x there. If we're adding an x to on the first pass, if we add x to an empty string, we just get x. On the second pass, x plus x becomes xx, so on and so forth until we get 5 x's. Let's see what we get. I forgot to print the string. Try again. It looks like we're matching the output, but there's an easier way of doing this. Let's get rid of all this. You simply put x multiplied by n, which is the same as having a for loop, but this is like a shortcut. Just to see if it worked, we can test out different numbers, like 15, 3. Okay, so it looks like printLine is done. Let's move on to printSquare. So to print a square, it's just a bunch of lines done n times. We can use a for loop for this. So what I did here was I called printLine, simply reusing the code, so we don't have to double code. So now we printed the square. Now let's move on to a right triangle, which is a little bit more complicated. printTriangle. So if we look at the triangle, we see that it's an x that is increasing in size. So x, 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 3 x's, 4 x's, 5 x's for each row. So the number of x and the row number is directly related. Well, what that means is we can use printLine, but have its width increase along with the number of rows. So again, we use a for loop. So we pass in x, and let's see what happens. Okay, there seems to be something wrong here, because in a for loop, the counter starts at 0. As you can see here, we have a line that has a width of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. To fix this, all we have to do is add a 1 here. And there we have it, a right triangle with a width of 5, or a width of n. 15. Next is the pyramid. So let's create a function for the pyramid. So what is happening here? We see that in front of the pyramid there's 4 spaces and then an X. Here there's 3 spaces, an X and a space, and then another X. And the number of spaces decrease while the number of X's increase. So X space, X space X, X space, X space X, and etc. So for the width of 5, the number of space is 4. So let's create another for loop here. We will print out that space, and we can multiply that by X, because we want the space, we're going to print out the space, and we want the space to start at 4. So it will start at 4, but we want it to be decreasing. So every time we want it to subtract X from it, which is increasing by 1. And then we want to print an X, which is increasing. So we want to multiply that by X plus 1. Since from the previous example, if we only put X, it will give us a width of 0. Let's try this out. Print pyramid. Okay, so it almost looks correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so a couple of things here. First, we are missing this space in between. So we can simply just add a space there and run it again. We almost have our pyramid, but the only issue right now is we're having this extra space here. To fix that, we just have to subtract 1 from here, since it's adding an extra space. Now we have a pyramid. Now moving on to diamond. So the thing about the diamond is we see that it has a pyramid on top, which means we could just reuse the pyramid. Print pyramid and then at the bottom we have an inverted pyramid. So it starts at 1. So it's an inverted pyramid with a base of width minus 1, but it starts at 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So we can now replicate that using a for loop. First we print out the space. We want the space to start at 1 and then increase. Now we want to add the X spaces. We want that to start at n minus 1, because n in this case is 5. We want it to start at 4. So n minus 1. But we want it to decrease. So we subtract X from it, since X is increasing by 1. Let's try it out. The wrong thing there. Okay, let's try it out. Oh, a little bit off. Okay, x starts at 0. Now we just need to add 1 here. There we go. It's a perfect diamond. You can try different numbers like 15 or 12. Looks good. Yeah, so that was pretty much it for printing of shapes using Python 3. I hope you learned something. Leave a comment if you want to see any other shapes or any other types of coding challenges you want solved. Until next time.